Hello students, in this lecture we will see food chain and food web. The ecosystem is characterized by the circulation of food material through the organisms. Actually, the food material produced by plant is a energy source. This plant performs photosynthesis and produce the organic molecules. We can say it is energy containing organic molecules, that is carbohydrates, proteins, lipids. Okay, these plants are autotrophic in nature, they produce their own food. In other words, the plants produce its own food in the form of organic molecules, and it forms the organic molecules like carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. Then we have seen in ecosystem the herbivorous animals depends upon the green plants or producers for their nutritional requirement, because these herbivorous animals take food from the plants or producer level. Again, we have also seen these herbivorous animals are in turn are eaten by the other carnivorous animals. That means the carnivorous animals takes the food from the body of herbivorous animals. They consume or they prey and eat the flesh of herbivorous animals. Okay. Then lastly, the dead and decaying matter of plants and animals falls on the ground, or in aquatic ecosystem it settle down at the bottom and get decomposed. Means the microorganisms takes the food from that dead and decaying organism. Okay, we have already seen the process of decomposition. These fungus and certain bacteria, decomposing bacteria, that shed their lytic enzymes over the decaying matter, and that lytic enzymes splits the carbohydrate, protein, and fat molecules and separate all the nutrients from that decaying material. Okay, now food chain. What is food chain? Definition. A food chain can be defined as a group of organisms in which there is a transfer of food takes place through a series of repeated eating and being eaten process. In food chain is the process of transfer of food in the ecosystem by the method of repeated eating and being eaten process. Means herbivorous animals eats the green plants, and these herbivorous animals are being eaten by other carnivorous animals. Okay, this is the repeated eating and being eaten process. Okay, now we have already seen primary source of energy on earth is the sun. Plant utilize the solar energy and prepare organic food in the form of carbohydrate, protein, fats. Okay, actually the plant does not produce energy. The plant is only transfer the solar energy into the chemical energy. We can say when the plant produce carbohydrate, protein, and fats in the process of photosynthesis. But in that process, plants absorb the CO2 and solar radiation, sunlight, and produce the organic food. Then we can also say the plant converts the solar energy into chemical energy. Okay. Okay. Inside the ecosystem, the interaction of organisms forms the nutritional steps, and it forms the link between various groups of animals and plants, which is called as food chain. In ecosystem, the organisms means living organisms forms the various nutritional steps. Okay, see this. These plants, then primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer and decomposers. This is the biotic components of ecosystem. In this ecosystem, these plants form a nutritional level, a sort of nutritional level means all green plants are the nutrition of primary consumer animals. Then primary consumer animals also form the another nutrition level which provide the nutrition to secondary consumer animals. Then secondary consumer animals also form the another nutritional level which provide the food to the tertiary consumers. Okay. Then another nutritional level is the decomposers, the dead material of plant and all the animals when settles on the ground, then decomposers attack on decaying matter and takes food from the this decaying matter. See, in this case, these decomposers are microscopic animals. Okay, decomposers are microscopic animals and they absorb very little amount of food from the decaying matter. Okay, hence we do not count these decomposers as a nutritional step. Okay, now trophic levels in food chain. The trophic level means the nutritional levels. While studying food chain, the various group of organisms are seen interact with each other for their food requirements. These plants prepare their own food which remains stored in the plant tissues. Similarly, animals also eat the plant food, digest it and extra food remains stored in their body tissues. In case of secondary and tertiary consumers, these animals eats the flesh of another animals and digest the food in their stomach and intestine. They use the some of the food for preparing energy and extra food will be stored in their body tissues. Okay. Now this systematic study of all types of ecosystem shows interaction of animal and plants and animal with animal for their nutritional requirements. In this ecosystem, the systematic pattern of nutrition taking or feeding habit is seen. Now, which are the nutritional steps or trophic levels present in the ecosystem? In food chain of ecosystem, the first trophic level is the producer forms. There are four trophic level forms in the food chain of any ecosystem. First trophic level means producer plant, second trophic level means primary consumer, third trophic level means secondary consumer and fourth trophic level means the tertiary consumers. Okay, see here, first trophic level, it is the first nutritional level. Okay, means all these second primary consumer or herbivorous animals depends upon this producer level in any ecosystem for their nutrition. Then the animals of third trophic level, secondary consumers, which are omnivorous, they are depends upon the flesh of animal of second trophic level, means second trophic levels forms a nutritional state. This fourth trophic level animal depends on the second and third trophic level animal, means this third trophic level also forms a nutritional state. Then all the fourth trophic level is also forms the another nutritional level. Okay, fourth trophic level animals are the tertiary consumers. They are big in size and are purely carnivorous animals. These animals takes the food from another animals by preying another animals. They digest the food and keep stored in their body tissues. Hence, this fourth trophic level is also the one of the nutritional step or trophic level. Okay, this is first trophic level. The plants are called producers, which constitute the level of food in ecosystem. This is first trophic level. Organic food stored in the tissues of producer plant present in ecosystem constitutes the first level of food in the ecosystem. In this first trophic level, the plants are autotrophs. They carry their photosynthesis and they prepare their own food. They prepare their own food in the form of organic molecules, carbohydrate, protein, and fats, and they store this carbohydrate, protein, and fats in their body tissues. Okay, in leaves and stems, etc., etc. Then second trophic level is a herbivorous animals. Okay, these herbivorous animals are the heterotrophic animals or heterotrophs. This depends on the producer level or first trophic level for their nutritional requirement. Okay, these animals eats the plants, digest it, and store the carbohydrate, protein, and fats in their body tissues. Okay, the animal जो है second trophic level के वो क्या करते हैं, first trophic level से food लेते हैं and they digest this food and keep stored in their body tissues. ठीक है. Then third trophic level animals are the carnivorous or omnivorous animals. These animals prey the herbivorous animals present in second trophic level. Means second trophic level से food कहा जा रहा है third trophic level, because थर्ड ट्रॉपिक लेवल में जो एनिमल है तो वो एनिमल क्या कर रहे हैं, सेकंड ट्रॉपिक लेवल के जो हर्बिवोरस एनिमल है उनका शिकार कर रहे हैं. ओके, मींस फूड एंटर इन द बॉडी ऑफ थर्ड ट्रॉपिक लेवल एनिमल. These animals also eat the flesh, then digest it and store the carbohydrate, protein, fats in their body tissues. Likewise, in the fourth trophic level is the tertiary consumers. These are big-sized animals. These animals feeds on the second trophic level and third trophic level animals. They eat these animals, digest and store the carbohydrate, protein, and fats from the food in their body tissues. Okay. Now, types of food chains. Food chains कितने type के हैं? There are three main types of food chains: grazing food chain, detritus food chain, and parasitic food chain. Okay. Now, what is grazing food chain? Grazing food chain. Grazing means charna. Okay. This food chains present in aquatic ecosystem, pond ecosystem, forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem. These food chains are called as the grazing food chains. Means in these food chains, the primary consumer animal, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer animals graze on the food. Graze on the food means they voraciously consume the food in the ecosystem. अब ये green plants है. Then primary consumer क्या करेंगे? Green plants में forest. When we consider the forest ecosystem, these green plants are eaten by the primary consumer. ये primary consumer क्या करेंगे? Forest में जो भी green plant दिखा उसको voraciously feed करेंगे. Means they graze करेंगे. ठीक है? कौन सा भी plant रहो खाने की सोचेंगे. Then these secondary consumer animals and tertiary consumer animals, ये क्या करेंगे? कौन सा भी एनिमल देखो उसका शिकार करने की सोचेंगे, शिकार करेंगे एंड उसको खा लेंगे. मीन्स दिस इज द मेथड ऑफ ग्रेजिंग. ओके, वोरेसियस फीडिंग हम जिसे बोलते हैं, दिस इज द मेथड ऑफ वोरेसियस फीडिंग. एंड सच फूड चेन्स आर कॉल्ड एज द ग्रेजिंग फूड चेन्स. These are forest food chain, grassland food chain, pond, then aquatic food chain in aquatic ecosystem, ocean ecosystem में जो food chain है, desert ecosystem में food chain. These all are the grazing food chains. These all are the grazing food chain. See here. Here the cropland food chain. In cropland ecosystem, the crops are the producers. बराबर है. Then the primary consumers are the these locusts. These insects are the primary consumers. That locusts, grasshoppers feeds on the maize or other product. Then lizards are there. These lizards feeds on the that grasshoppers. Then snakes are there. That snakes feeds on the lizards. This is the cropland food chain. ओके, अलग अलग प्रकार के कितने भी क्रॉपलैंड फूड चेन हो सकते हैं। ये प्रोड्यूसर, यहाँ पे हमने मेज दिखाया है, यहाँ पे वीट भी हो सकता है, ओके, राइस भी हो सकता है, ये एनिमल इंसेक्ट दूसरे भी हो सकते हैं। ओके, देन दिस इज द forest food chain. The second type of food chain is forest food chain. In forest, the primary consumers are some insects, then rabbits, then deer, bear, etc., etc., cattle. Okay, these these animals feeds on the forest plant. Then secondary consumers are, these are the carnivorous animals, wolves, jackals, rats. These are included in secondary consumers. These secondary consumer animals feeds on the primary consumer animals. Then the secondary consumer animals and tertiary consumer animals. Okay, tertiary consumer animals in forest includes the tiger, lions, etc., etc. These animals feeds on the other animals. This is the ocean food chain in ocean. Producers are the aquatic plants. Okay, phytoplankton and aquatic plants. Then primary consumers are the shrimps or small plant eating animals. Then secondary consumers are the small sized fishes. Tertiary consumers are the big sized fishes. This is the food chain in ocean ecosystem. Then in grassland ecosystem में producer grasses रहेंगे, ठीक है. Then these rabbits are the primary consumer. Rabbits feeds on the grasses. Secondary consumers are the snakes. Snakes feeds on the primary consumer animals, rabbits. And havocs are the tertiary consumer animals. Okay, ये havoc snakes को eat करता है. Okay, snakes and the rabbits. This is the grassland food chain. In pond ecosystem, in forest ecosystem, these are the food chains. Okay, then second type of food chain is the grazing food chain, detritus food chain. Okay, detritus food chain. Now, what is detritus? Okay, see this diagram. In any ecosystems, in any grazing food chains, the producer, herbivorous, carnivorous, and top carnivorous animals, means primary, secondary, and tertiary consumer animals, and their activity produces the dead and decaying material. Okay, ये प्रोड्यूसर के जो प्लांट लीव्स है, वो प्लांट लीव्स नीचे जमीन पे गिरेंगे. ओके, एक्वाटिक इकोसिस्टम रहे तो पानी में गिरेंगे और बॉटम में सेटल डाउन होंगे. देन these animals, carnivorous animals, say they eat the flesh of another animals, another small animals. Okay, and during their feeding, some part of bones and some flesh also falls on the ground. Okay, and this dead and decaying part forms the detritus detritus material, dead and decaying material. Okay, in each ecosystem, the feeding habit of these animals forms the dead and decaying material, which is called as detritus. Okay, in this dead and decaying material, certain detritivorous animals forms a food chain, which is called as detritus food chain. Okay, for example, the undigested fecal matter of all type of animals, it also remains on the earth. Then wastage part of animal and plant plant bodies, they also falls on the ground and it forms the detritus. Decaying material is called as detritus. And some animals forms the food chain in the detritus. Okay, these are the detritus food chain. These dead animals means this is the detritus, decaying material. Some blowflies and maggots. This takes the food from the dead and decaying material. Then some frogs. Frogs consume the blowflies and maggots. Then grass snakes. The snakes in the grassland consumes the frogs. Means this is also one of the food chain found in the dead and decaying material present in the forest and grassland. Okay, such food chain is called as detritus food chain. Then another food chain in the grassland, leaf litter means the fallen leaves present on ground. Then earthworm takes the food from these decaying leaves. Then some birds prey on the earthworm and take their food. And again some large sized carnivorous bird like hawk get their food from these smaller birds. Okay, these are the detritus food chains. Now parasitic food chains. In ecosystem, the big and small size of animal and plant is responsible to form the parasitic food chain in the ecosystem. Okay, some in forest ecosystem we have seen a large trees are there, fruit yielding trees are there. Okay, now on this fruit yielding tree, the birds are hiding as a parasites. Okay, वहाँ पे वो ट्री पे उनका नेस्ट बना लेते हैं, फ्रूट यील्डिंग ट्री पे वो ट्री पे ही रहते हैं. देन ब्लड सकिंग पैरासाइट्स, बर्ड्स के बॉडी पे कुछ पैरासाइट रहते हैं, ब्लड सकिंग पैरासाइट, लाइसेस. ओके, लाइसेस एंड smaller little insects. These hide on the body of birds and suck their birds and take the nutrition from their body. Okay, now in the body of these blood sucking parasites means from the on the body of lice and certain smaller insects, the bacteria and fungus are present which takes the food from their body fluids. Okay, such type of food chain is called the parasitic food chains. Means here producer is the fruit yielding tree. Fruit yielding tree means for example banana tree. Okay, and on this tree all the animals are hide as a parasites. The birds hide on the tree as a parasite, then blood sucking parasites hide on the body of birds, and some bacteria and fungi hides on these smaller insects. Okay, such type of food chain are called as parasitic food chain. Now the food web. Okay, अभी food chain हो गया, अभी food web. What is food web? In a given ecosystem, various food chains are linked together and intersect each other and form the complex network called as food web. Okay, we have seen the food chains, but in that food chains, the systematic pattern of taking food is not seen. Okay, see here in this food chain, in this cropland food chain, this locust eats the plants. Okay, plant leaves and another stem leaves. Okay, and another grains. Then lizards eats the secondary consumers which eats the grasshoppers. Then snakes are tertiary consumer animals. This eats the lizards. But in many cases these snakes directly eats the grasshoppers, or these snakes present in the cropland food chain. एखादे cropland में अगर snakes रहा तो these snakes enter in the forest ecosystem. Forest ecosystem में भी वो जाएगा, forest में भी जाएगा, and it also takes food from the animals from the forest. Means the tertiary consumer from cropland food chain enters in the forest food chain. Okay, then the snakes may also enters in the pond ecosystem. पानी में भी जाएगा snakes, and it may consume the insects and small fishes present in the pond. Okay, such type of taking food from the different trophic levels or in the different food chains. It forms a complex structure of feeding habit, which is called as the food web. In given ecosystem, the organisms intersect the different trophic levels of same food chain. In same food chain, these animals intersect the trophic level. Means this snakes eats lizards as well as it also consume the flesh of grasshoppers. Means tertiary consumer में जो है ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम में स्नेक्स, वो सेकेंडरी कंज्यूमर में जो लिजर्ड्स है उनको तो ईट करेगा है, बट प्राइमरी कंज्यूमर लेवल में जो ग्रास हॉपर है उसको भी वो खा जाएगा. ओके, such type of intersection of trophic levels, and it forms the food web. Various food chains of different ecosystems are linked together. Some same animals operate at different trophic levels of food chains of different ecosystems. Same animal linked together, same animals operate in the trophic levels of food chains of different ecosystems. For example, tiger and lion. This tiger, lion and leopards, these are the tertiary consumers of the forest ecosystem. This tiger and lions also enter in the grasslands. वो घूमते रहते हैं ग्रासलैंड में, ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम में भी जाएंगे. ग्रासलैंड में जाने के बाद वहां पर भी वो एनिमल को प्रे करेंगे. ओके, मींस these animals intersect the ecosystem. एक फूड चेन से दूसरी फूड चेन में गए, बराबर है. And in another case, this tiger and lions in forest ecosystem, they consume the food from secondary consumer animals, means foxes, wild cats, जो another small animals है उनका तो वो फ्लैश कंज्यूम करेंगे, बट प्राइमरी कंज्यूमर में जो रैबिट है, कैटल्स है, बकरियां है, भेड़े है, बराबर है, वो उनको भी प्रे करेंगे. मीन्स दे इंटरसेक्ट द ट्रॉफिक लेवल्स, बराबर है. तो सच complex habit of taking food in various trophic levels and from various food chains, it forms the complex network called as food web. Now see here, food web in grassland ecosystem. This grassland food chain is the grasses are producer, rabbit, rats, these are the primary consumers, snakes and lizards secondary consumer, and havoc is the tertiary consumer. See here, this grasshopper and mouse, this consume the food from the grasses. Okay, these are herbivorous animals. Then lizards and snakes, these consume the rats and grasshoppers. Okay, then rabbit also. But this havoc takes the food from this secondary level animal. This havoc eats lizard, it also eats the snakes, and it again consume the flesh of rabbit, grasshoppers and rats. Okay, means this havoc intersect the trophic level. Actually, in the language of ecosystem, this havoc is a tertiary consumer and it depends upon the secondary consumer animals for their food. But this havoc takes food from secondary consumer animal and primary consumer animal. And such complex system of feeding is formed, which is called as food web. This is the food web in grassland ecosystem. Okay. Now, this is also another food web. Okay. Then food web in forest. These are lions. These are tertiary consumers. Okay. These are the kite and havoc. This kite and havoc, these birds are included in grassland ecosystem. But this takes food from the forest ecosystem. Okay. ये lions जो है वो secondary consumer animal को खाएंगे. Okay. और अगर उनको primary consumer animal मिले तो वो उनको भी eat करेंगे. Means they intersect the trophic levels for taking their food. Okay, this is the food web in forest ecosystem. Okay, this is about the food chain and food web. Okay, thank you.